Welcome to the Divorce Allies podcast, a podcast and video series where we dive into the complexities of the divorce mediation and litigation processes with a team of financial professionals, divorce mortgage planning specialists, parenting, and relationship coaches. We cover all the areas of the divorce process from financial to emotional well-being. Today, we will be talking about the emotions associated with divorce and how to work through them. I'm Anna, our team's life transition mentor, and I'm here today with Cristin Terri, our divorce coach and parenting specialist. Welcome, Cristin. It's so good to see you again.
Hi, Anna. Thank you so much. We always enjoy these chats, definitely.
I know, and this one I'm really excited about because it's essentially, I think, one of the biggest stepping stones to take when you're going through divorce. And even with divorce or any life transition, any new chapter in life, you will face emotions. And of course, we're going to be focusing on the emotions we're experiencing in divorce. But I think, of course, anyone listening to this can take something away from it. So my first question for you would be, what are the most common or the most prevailing emotions people going through divorce are experiencing?
Yeah, so firstly on what you were saying is a lot of people, we focus a lot on our IQ, but we haven't necessarily been taught our EQ and our emotional intelligence and how to regulate our emotions. So, and that's no fault to previous generations. They all had their own challenges, but right now what we're facing is a lot of millennials, Gen Zs struggling to manage their emotions or even put words to their emotions. When you're specifically going through divorce, it's a roller coaster of emotions, definitely. But I would say the overarching ones could generally, depending on your own situation, right? It could be, most of all, it would be fear. I think the main overall emotion that we're feeling is fear. The fear of the unknown, fear of where you're going to live, fear if you're going to survive, fear if you're making the right decision, fear if your kids are going to be okay. And when we're in that fear state, we're obviously in our fight or flight state, our survival mode. And that ultimately then doesn't allow us for our critical thinking or our logical brain or our IQs to actually be at top notch, but more we're clouded and we're overanalyzing and overthinking things. So definitely fear is one of those emotions. Anger, I see a lot of anger, a lot of rage, depending on the reason for the divorce, but it could be, there's generally conflict going on. So a lot of anger, depending on the other person's actions. We have overwhelm, so just completely feeling overwhelmed and not knowing where to start. We have resentment, so resentment is resentful to your soon-to-be ex-spouse, or maybe what they did. Maybe there was infidelity involved. Maybe there was betrayal and deceit involved. We also see a lot of, yes, there's sadness. I think you see a lot of sadness, especially if you necessarily are the partner that didn't necessarily want the divorce. So there's a lot of sadness that you can experience. And I would say those are probably some of the big ones: overwhelm, fear, anger, depression, resentment, isolation. A lot of people then don't know how to, once you've actually gone through the divorce and now you've got to start putting yourself out there again, you tend to isolate because of that, yet again, that fear of putting yourself out there. So I think a lot of it boils down to fear of the unknown, fear of what is going to happen, what's going to come out of this whole situation.
Yeah, you said something interesting that I want to circle back on. So in the very beginning, you said something about the different generations. And I just wanted to take a moment to focus on this because, of course, everyone throughout existence has felt these emotions, but there is such a difference between millennials and Gen Z, and I'm right on the cusp, so I can relate to both,
Same.
that I think these generations are a lot more willing to discuss these emotions and question why we might be feeling it. But why do you think previous generations had such a difficult time expressing these or even identifying these emotions? Is it all within like societal norms, or what's your take on that?
So I obviously can't speak for the whole population of the world, right? But I think what my understanding is, just from my own experiences, from friends, and just communications and just understanding, when we were more in the industrial age, it was dad was off to work and boys don't cry and you suck it up, and what do you I'm going to give you a reason to cry about, or it wasn't necessary. There were other things to focus on. There were other things happening in the world. There were wars being fought. Dads were off fighting wars. So there's so many elements. I just think where we are at this point in time is parents have the capacity. Firstly, the internet made a huge
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
I think pre-internet, it was basic. We didn't have the knowledge unless you went and studied child development or emotions or psychology. You raised your kids the way your mom taught you and your grand taught you, or the books that may have been given to you. But there wasn't this abundance of knowledge and research done as well on what are the benefits of helping children recognize their emotions? What are the benefits of, or not even the benefits, how can we help children recognize
Mhm.
their emotions instead of just, I don't know if it's that much in the States, but in South Africa, we also had this phrase of kids were seen, not heard, right? Like they're just over there. We don't want to hear you. The grown-ups are here in our conversation. You do your thing. We don't want to hear you. So I don't know, was that in the States at all? Was that kind of like a parental norm at some point?
I think yes. And I also think it was just you had to be the best in the neighborhood. It was always keeping up with the Joneses. You want to make sure your
Yeah.
lawn is the greenest, your kids are in the best dress. Like everything was comparison. And I think what I wanted to note is the internet has opened up so many resources, but it's also allowed people to feel not isolated. Like, oh my gosh, all mothers are feeling this way. That
Yeah.
sinking feeling that I have in my stomach, that's normal. That's not just me. And I feel like before you couldn't discuss it with your close friends or your colleagues because then it would make you feel like you were the odd one out. So
Yeah.
I think that, yes, the internet increased knowledge, but it also made everyone feel we're all in this one big community together, and it's completely normal to feel a lot of these emotions.
Yeah. I think with anything in life, I have the perspective of there are pros and cons to absolutely anything. And there
Mhm.
are pros to growing up in the 50s, the 60s, and then the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. But you know, the pros, yes, we've got a lot of knowledge on the internet and it does help us connect, but then it does offer too much comparison,
Yeah.
right? So I think I actually spoke to another mother the other day, and we were both saying that now we're always comparing as to whether we're doing the right thing for our kids, or there's so many different opinions and different
Yeah.
studies. Now which one do you choose? Which
Right.
one is the right one? So now we're comparing, and we've got too much knowledge almost, and we get
Mhm.
in our own heads. Or something even more deeper than that is mothers are second guessing their intuition.
A lot of time we've been taught not to trust our gut, but that's the one thing that we should be paying attention to. But I also want to go back to a lot of these emotions and how they manifest in the body. So you were talking about resentment, fear, anger, maybe some anxiety. How do these emotions show up in our physical body?
I love this question. Yeah, I think in such a fast-paced world, we're getting everyone's fighting for our attention, right? And everyone's got an opinion, everyone's got everything. So we have kind of lost touch of our own voices, our own intuition, our own mind-body connection.
Mhm.
And we're more going to listen to what our mother says or what our best friend's advice is. Or so we're looking outwards for the answers, when in general, we actually need to just start building that mind-body connection. Yes, emotions will physically manifest, because different emotions are going to cause different chemical reactions in our bodies. It's going to cause our heart rates to increase. If we've got anxiety, it's going to our oxygen intake is going to increase. So there's physical reactions that are happening to things that we're mentally perceiving or thinking mentally. So there is a reaction within our bodies, and we can, the more we start strengthening our mind-body connection, I know you mentioned body scan, which we'll go into a little bit more, but when we start strengthening that mind-body connection and actually tuning into our bodies, we're able to start recognizing what emotions they are. So it starts like a little trigger effect of when we start building that mind-body connection, we can then tap into and say, oh my gosh, I'm feeling like this. Then from that, okay, I'm feeling like this. What is this? Okay, this is X. This is anxiety.
Mhm.
Okay, what can I do with this anxiety? Where am I feeling this anxiety? Is it generally, we all know, I think anxiety is very center based in our abdomen, in our stomach. Anger could be in our heads. Our heads get hot, our ears get hot, our hands feel. There's a beautiful diagram somewhere on the internet. I might actually, we could add that as a resource, but where it shows you where different and how the brain triggers different emotions and where it's going to actually show up on a scan
So
in your body.
fascinating.
It's absolutely fascinating. So the key is to start building that mind-body connection. And the way to do that is where we're leading to is by body scans and by taking those moments to start slowing down and checking in with ourselves. Maybe pulling away from the chaos or pulling away from the situation. I think we've all had an experience in our lives where we can look and say, oh, I was so busy on this project and I couldn't see it until I stepped away. I couldn't see from that think outside of the box, a bird's eye point of view. So we need to start doing that almost with, if we're in a situation that we're feeling extremely uncomfortable, pull yourself away, start getting into that habit and start building that mind-body connection. One of my favorite ways is body scan.
Yes,
So
please tell us more about the body scan.
what a body scan does is, yes, it's a mindset practice, but for people that generally struggle to, it was one of the first meditations when I studied to be a meditation teacher that they said, we need to do this every month. And I was like, oh my gosh, the same one every day? How boring. I thought I was going to learn loads. But I understood the importance of this. So what a body scan is going to do is you're going to go into you can sit down, you can lie down, and take a few moments for yourself. Of course, you're going to start centering yourself to breathe, but a lot of people struggle if you've never meditated just to focus on your breath. It's incredibly difficult. So we are also different learners. So sometimes a lot of people like to physically be doing something. So body scan, we're going to close your eyes, taking a few deep breaths. We'll try and run through one at the end of this. And you're going to slowly start tensing or start hyper-focusing and bringing your awareness on different parts of your body, generally starting from the top down. So in this moment, I would take a deep breath and I would imagine, like I'd start just tapping into my body and then starting to focus on, say, my forehead. Okay, what do I feel in my forehead? Okay, I've actually got a bit of tension now. So I might squeeze it, tense it, and then release. Because what we don't know is that we actually are so used to feeling tension that we don't even know that there's tension there. So what a body scan will do, especially like my longer body scan, it's about a 15-minute one where we really tense different muscles up. You tense your hands, you squeeze your hands in as tightly as you can. What people do as well is they hold their breath in this moment. So it shows you that how we're not breathing properly when we're tense. And then you release it. Okay, you're going to wiggle your fingers and you're going to relax. And then you're going to move through your whole body, tensing different muscles, even just bringing awareness to each muscle and actively try and release that tension. So that's starting to build that mind-body connection of when you are feeling tense in a situation. So this is helpful in any situation when you don't have your mind-body connection kind of
Yeah.
down to the T. You're in a situation where you're all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh. But if you don't have that mind-body connection, you're going to be like this the whole time. But as soon as you start recognizing what a tense muscle and a relaxed muscle should feel like, you're going to be in a situation and be like, oh, I'm tense in this moment. Okay, let me relax that a little bit. Why am I tense? What is causing me to be tense in this moment? And just start decompressing that tension. So body scan is really amazing, building that mind-body connection. What is a tense muscle? What is a relaxed muscle? Because it's incredibly difficult to recognize what's going on in our bodies when we are in that stressed environment, or we don't necessarily notice that our heart rate's increased unless you're looking at your digital watch, or if your oxygen intake, we have no idea. So the best way to start recognizing tension or stress within our bodies is through our tense muscles. And that's the fastest way to recognize it.
I can imagine, especially in the early phases of divorce, when you're having these initial conversations with attorneys, maybe you've started mediation, you're going into the mediation room, and I could only imagine how just tense everything is, your back muscles, your shoulders, your neck, your forehead. And just to be able to, even before you walk into that room or before you sit in front of the Zoom meeting, just take 5 minutes, identify how it feels to be relaxed, and then you can compare it to how you're feeling during those intense meetings. Because I mean, from the stories I've heard, it's just, it can go 0 to 100 very quickly. And that's where a lot of the crucial decision making needs to happen. And so you need to make sure you're completely, as much as you can, calm and aware of your own body.
Yeah, I have another little tip, something that I generally do if I'm going into something that I feel a little anxious, right? I just shake. I'm like, okay, shake it off. Like, whether it be for 1 minute or 2 minutes, like, I have never done my little shakedown and not felt better, because energy is like, emotions, also energy and motion. Everything is energy. I don't think we need to debate this topic at all. We all are fully aware that everything is energy. So that means our emotions are energy, our tension is energy. It's all energy. So we need to, like, it is a fantastic thing. Anyone that's watching this, if you've got something coming up that you're super stressed about, go into your room, go somewhere private and shake for 2 minutes. Shake your hands, kick your legs, stomp, wiggle it out, shake those shoulders, and you generally will feel much better, more relaxed, because you've actually shifted the energy out of your body. You've shifted it off of you. Because if you don't do that, it's all there. It's all there, and there's nowhere for it to go. That's also why exercise works so well, and why everyone's always like, oh my gosh, I feel so good after a workout, is because you've shifted any energy. If you go to the gym after work, you shake that in, or you work out that energy, you feel amazing. You feel amazing. I don't think I've heard anyone say, oh, I feel awful after that workout. No, I really don't. You might be exhausted, or maybe it was so intense that you want to throw up. But in general, you feel good. In general, you feel good. Emotionally, you feel like, okay, there's space. Because we're also only got this much space. We're taking up this much space in the world. So if you've overloaded, it's just going to explode at the wrong moment. It's going to come out at the wrong moment. It's going to pour. They say you bleed onto the people, right, that didn't necessarily cut you, because you're just taking it all on.
Yeah, my favorite thing to do, and it's a little mini version of self-care, is put in my AirPods, put on my favorite song, depending on my mood. If I need to get amped up, it's a different genre. If I need to be, it just, go in your room, maybe go into the bathroom and just blast one song that's 3 minutes and just dance like a crazy person. And then you feel it's a reset. It's the energy's off. It's a whole different mindset, especially even just like working during the day. We sit for so long. To get your body up and moving and doing something completely different, it's like, okay, now I can reset and get back into whatever I was doing. But I think I would like to, okay, so we have identified the body scan, because mostly we feel it first physically. And then what's really helped me work through a lot of my different emotions throughout the years is, okay, so I feel this in my body. Now, why am I feeling this way? And to try to identify that thought, that looming thing that is causing whatever's manifesting my body, and then detaching that. Be like, okay, so maybe I'm feeling this pit in my stomach because I have a looming deadline. Okay, well, now that I've detached that or written it on a piece of paper, I feel so much better. So I want you to go into a little bit more on how we can detach these thoughts and then overcoming these emotions in general a little bit.
I love that practice that you do. So our thoughts, I think I have mentioned this to you before. What we don't just, emotions don't just happen. Yet again, energy is in motion. So it doesn't just, whoop, all of a sudden I'm happy, all of a sudden I'm sad. It starts here. It starts with our thoughts. You don't just all of a sudden feel sad. You feel sad because maybe you thought of your dog that got hit by a car, or you feel sad because your husband hasn't texted you, or whatever you're feeling sad. It's a thought that triggers the physiological feeling, that energy inside of our bodies, because from your own perspective. So that's why some people, might be triggered by one thing and the next person's not triggered by that at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's all from our own perspective. So it all starts in our mind. So in order to be able to detach from and to start that process, like meditation teacher, if we put so much emphasis, studies have done, there's so much emphasis on how good working out your body is physically for your physical health. The same goes for meditation or mindset practices. It shouldn't be seen as a spiritual or a religious practice, but more a mental practice, a practice to focus your thoughts, because we have 70,000 subconscious thoughts a day, and that's what our brain's job is to do. But I think I have mentioned this as well, but we're not our thoughts. Because have you had a thought where you think, oh my gosh, did I just think that? Like, did I just think about that person like that? So that we are not our thoughts. That's just our brain's job. It's firing neurons.
I just want to break. So when you think about maybe someone else in that evil way, you're like, oh my gosh, why would I ever think that way? So why don't we say that about ourselves when we have these evil thoughts about ourselves? Why don't we stop ourselves right there and say, why would I ever think that about me? Regardless of someone else. No, what about me? Okay, sorry, I just had to bring that in.
No, I love that. I often say to people, what advice would you give your best friend? If your best friend was in your situation right now, what would you say to them? So yeah, it starts with the mind. It starts with just like working out. You cannot expect to, after one 20-minute run, now you can do a marathon. You cannot do one meditation practice and now expect that, oh, I am going to be this Zen, calm person. I've got all the control of my thoughts. My thoughts never wander. No, it's a practice. So what we're doing is meditation. You're actually just training you're training yourself to control those thoughts, to direct those thoughts, to have a relationship with those thoughts. And the moment that you can have a relationship with your thoughts, draw the focus to where you need it to be, which is incredibly difficult. We are so on a instant gratification, dopamine fixes now. We get this all over the place. So it takes practice. It takes the effort to want to do this, right? So once you can start controlling your thoughts, because if you can say, well, I'm feeling really anxious right now, like you said, I'm feeling anxious. What am I anxious about? Okay, well, I've got a long to-do list. Okay, but I'm not getting through anything. So how can I break it down? Let me break it down. So once we can recognize where the feeling is coming from, what the thought is, even if it's a subconscious thought. So you might not actually be thinking about this to-do list, but you feel anxious because you know there's something that you need to do. It's like pushing off that target all the time. We all know that feeling of procrastinating. It's an awful feeling, but we tend to do it. We tend to procrastinate. So it starts with mindset practices. It starts with strengthening your focus. It starts with little bits of redirecting your focus, whether it be 1 minute or 2 minutes every day where you start, okay, I'm going to try for 1 minute to focus on my breath. I'm going to try for 1 minute, 2 minutes to stare at this candle flame. It doesn't always have to be your breath, but just start learning to focus, because when you can focus, you can start drawing your attention away from those negative thoughts, those things that are not serving us, which are either in the future, worrying about the future, or what your ex said while you're going through divorce, or he threatened he's going to take the kids, or he's going to keep you're worrying about stuff you can't change that threat.
Yeah.
But what you can do is focus, okay, if I am worried about that, what can I do now to ensure that doesn't happen? And you get to writing. My favorite process is if I'm feeling any sorts of way, I will first try and shift the energy. I'm also a big music person. I always listen to music. I can listen to a sad song, it'll make me cry. I can listen to an angry song, it's going to make me like whatever it is. So I'll do a shakedown. I'll then go and try and practice and meditate, or do a bit of a meditation. After my meditations, I'll then try and write whatever it is, like to-do lists. If I'm feeling fearful about something, I'll write down, what am I feeling fearful about? How realistic is this fear? What are the chances of this fear happening? I also like to use this thing called worry time. So
Okay.
15 minutes a day. I don't always do it. I'm sure we all don't always get to absolutely everything. But if you are feeling overwhelmed, there's a great, and especially through divorce, I would set aside 15 minutes of worry time every day. Find the same time, whether it's in your morning or in your evening. And it's funny, right? Worry time. And during the day, if something pops up that you're worried about, just say, cool, I'm going to make a note on my phone or write that down. That's going to be allocated to worry time. And you're not letting all your worries consume your entire day, your entire week. But then at the end of the day, you can sit down, okay, 15 minutes, where's my list? Okay, I was worried about this, 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 and this. Okay, what can I... And then you can start doing an action plan for the worries.
Yeah.
If you're worried about finances, okay, cool, I'm worried about finances. How can I get an extra income? Where can I apply for a job? Is my CV up to date? You cannot do anything about where you are unless you have an awareness, unless you're willing to put in the effort. I said this to someone else the other day. There's a reason not everyone is an entrepreneur, or there's a reason that everyone does the same thing, is because we are all different. But the one thing that we have in common is, if you don't actively make an effort on something, where your energy goes, where your focus goes, that's what's going to grow. If you are focusing on all the negativity that's going to happen, that's where your energy is going, and that's what's going to grow. That's what's going to consume you in that moment. So I love worry time. It's like setting time to worry about shit. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's also making it you don't have to solve all these worries in those 15 minutes. You're just addressing them, and then maybe the last 5 minutes you're making the list on how to conquer the worry. You're not just ruminating on the worries. It's making a productive time. What am I going to do about this? Like for me, small things. It's like getting locked out of accounts or having to set up certain things. It's like that is something that could overcome my creativity or something. But it's okay. Then let me set 20 minutes aside every week and just go through those things that are worrying me professionally. So, I mean, I really like that. It's just like, okay, maybe Thursdays at 1 p.m. are going to be my worry time. And I do everything that has been overwhelming to me for the week.
Yeah, definitely. It is really, really does work. And it helps you be more productive throughout the rest of the week, because you're not constantly being, if you know, okay, I'll deal with this, then you can kind of file it for now, put it in one of these files in your mind, file it. We're going to get to that on Thursday at 1 p.m. So it's not clouding everything, because when we are worried, it's constantly there, and we just can't focus. Then you can't focus on anything else that you're supposed to do. So worry time, if anyone needs to adapt that little technique, please feel free to do so.
I like it. We'll have to make it a hashtag worry time, and show off how best we get rid of our worries. Okay, Cristin, we've gone through a lot today. I would love to end if we could do a mini meditation. I'm going to participate. I can't wait.
Yes,
however you want to
please.
structure this, you have full creative freedom.
I would love, it would have been great to figure out how to StreamYard some background calm music or something, but it's fine. We'll use just my voice. Okay, so we're gonna do like it's not my nice long body scan, which usually when people come out of that, they're like, what just happened? But it is a nice little 5-minute practice that you can do anytime, and you can return to at any point in whenever you're feeling stressed, and it doesn't take a lot of time. So Anna, I'm going to ask you firstly to get nice and comfortable. Make sure that your spine is straight, your feet are grounded, and your hands are nice and relaxed. And whenever you're ready, you can close your eyes. So I'd like you to take a nice deep breath in through your nose, allowing your belly to expand, and then slowly exhale through your mouth. You can take a nice deep breath in. Imagine your belly expanding. Our lungs are really big at the bottom, so we want to fill them all the way to the bottom. And exhale. As you exhale, try and imagine your body melting and softening. We can repeat this one more time in your own time. And just feeling your body begin to relax with each breath. Now, as you allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm, I want you to imagine at the top of your head and bring your awareness to the top of your head. And imagine a warm, gentle light shining down, bringing a sense of relaxation to your scalp. I want you to imagine this light and feel this light moving down towards your forehead, smoothing any tension or worry lines. As this light moves down, you're imagining it soften and releasing tension. It's filling you with a warm, relaxing feeling. Allow this warmth to flow down to your eyes. Imagine it flowing down to your cheeks and your jaw, releasing any tightness that you may be holding onto there, letting your jaw hang slightly open if it feels comfortable, being aware of whether your tongue is on the roof of your mouth as well. If it is, just gently release it and breathe deeply. Remember to take nice deep breaths as you're slowly moving this light down, bringing your focus down to your neck and your shoulders. Feel the light. Notice if you're holding any tension there as you exhale. Imagine your shoulders dropping and the tension melting away. Allow this warmth to travel down your arms all the way to your fingertips, releasing any heaviness or stress that you may be feeling. Shift your attention to your chest and your heart area. Feel your breath filling your lungs, expanding your chest, and then gently releasing. Imagine any emotional heaviness that you may be feeling being lifted with each exhale, creating space for peace and healing. Move your awareness now down to your stomach and your lower abdomen. Feel that light lighting up that area. This area often holds stress and anxiety. As you breathe out, imagine your belly softening and letting go of any knots or tightness. Now I want you to focus, moving that light ever so gently down your body as you're releasing tension. Imagine as you exhale, you release and just breathe that tension away. Imagine it melting away as you breathe in light and peace. Moving that light down now further to your pelvis and your hips. Imagine that light filling this area and bringing a sense of grounding and stability. As you're seated, feel that grounding where your body is touching the earth in your feet. Let go of any tension or discomfort. Allow the warmth to travel down your legs, past your knees, and into your calves. Feel your legs becoming relaxed and heavy as that tension just melts away and floats out of your body. Just breathe it away. Bringing your attention to the end and to the very tips of your being, in your toes and in your feet. Letting the light fill this area completely, grounding you firmly to the earth. Now you can take a moment scanning your entire body all the way up again from your toes. Imagine it going into your legs, just checking for any tension that you may be holding on to. Remembering to breathe, moving up your legs past your hips, moving back into your abdomen, back into your chest, just scanning your body for any tension. You need to release it and wiggle something. Feel free to do so. And if there are any remaining areas of tension, breathe into them. Find that space, tap in and check into your body where there may be discomfort. Go there and breathe it and imagine releasing that worry. And just let that warm light melt them away. Just gently scanning your body. Breathing in peace and calm. And exhaling any tension or worries that you may be holding on to. Enjoying this feeling of relaxation. As we come to the end of this meditation, you can take one last deep breath in, filling those lungs up as much as you can, in through the nose, filling your entire body with calm and peace. Slowly exhale, releasing any remaining tension. Checking in with your breath. And just enjoying this feeling of calm and relaxation. Noticing how slow and relaxed your breathing is. Notice how calm and relaxed your heartbeat feels. Now you can start welcoming some life into this space again by wiggling your fingers a little bit. Wiggling your toes, whether you want to start welcoming some movement and bringing some awareness back into the space that you're taking up. And whenever you're ready, feel free to open your eyes and tap in and see how you feel.
That was great, Cristin. And I think it's hard I had my coffee for the day, so it's hard to kind of stop thinking about everything that I have to do. But I will say how you walk through every single, your eyes, your mouth, your jaw, your chest, your belly, it helps you redirect those thoughts into something literal. So yes, every time I had a little wandering thought, I brought it back. Okay, what body part is she talking about? I think it's really hard for meditations that are just focusing on breathing, but to start bringing focus and awareness to every body part really helps direct those thoughts back into your body.
I love it. I hope you enjoyed it, but that is the key. Like, a lot of people think we should have no thoughts whatsoever. It's natural. We all have, the brain is always fighting for more knowledge, or to analyze something, or to categorize something, or to do. That's the brain. And, even when those thoughts wander, we just need to, without judgment, just come back. Hey, I'm on the abdomen again. And you're right. It is much easier for a lot of people to actually start focusing on parts of your body and bring that awareness to that section than just your breath. When I started, I found it incredibly difficult just to focus on my breath.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still some days where, like you say, if I've had something to eat or something, then it becomes a little bit harder for me, because generally, ideally, you would like to be meditating before you've eaten something, because a lot of brain power goes to digesting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've just eaten and then you go meditate, your brain is active because it needs to be digesting. So if you are meditating before you've eaten, I mean, meditation is always good whenever you can practice it. I'm not that teacher that's going to tell you you have to do 20 minutes every morning. Anytime, whenever you can. But obviously there are benefits to before you've eaten, and it's not about the morning, it's just before you've actually eaten, because once you've eaten, your brain is digesting food. But I'm glad you enjoyed it, because it is a lot easier for people to start. And you can imagine if you did that every month, how more in tune you're going to be coming to your body parts.
Mm-hmm.
I've often done this meditation where I've had clients fall asleep, first of all, full on snoring, but also where old injuries, they felt certain aspects, like a twisted ankle or a knee that they bruised 2 months ago, and it's not actually fully healed, but we just power on nowadays. We just push through everything. We just
No time
push
for
through
rest.
the discomfort. If you've got a headache, just pop a pill. When in all honesty, our body's just trying to signal, hey, there's a bit of like discomfort here. Can we pay attention? Your body's just trying to give you signals, and your brain is trying to send those signals through your body that, hey, something's not right. But we just put a plaster, take a pill, power on. And this is my belief. I don't necessarily think it should be everyone's beliefs. Everyone believes different, but I think that's where disease comes from. And that's where, stress is the number one killer in the world. And divorce is one of the most stressful times any person is going to go through, other than the death of a spouse, right? So when we are just powering on and not actually listening, we need to be listening. Like this shifted everything for me. Firstly, during my birth with Mason, but also through my divorce. And I wanted to mention actually something. You mentioned your jaw and stuff. So I don't know if you know this. This is not on the topic, but we may be able to clip this out for something. Yeah. But when I was doing my hypnobirthing and having my home birth and my natural birth, my midwife was constantly, release your jaw, release your jaw, release your jaw, because your jaw holds a lot of tension. And if you're trying to give birth and have your pelvis open up, as a woman, our pelvis and our jaw is very interlocked. So if your jaw is locked, you cannot open up. You cannot release and open up. So she was like, release here so that you can release here. So fascinating. It is like, and every time I did that, there was progress that happened. And that's why also, like, when we take a deep breath and we release this, I don't know if you ever feel this, but when I'm anxious, I clench down here. Yes, I scrunch my shoulders, but I clench down in my pelvic area, in my abdomen area. I'm a clencher there. And it goes hand in hand with your jaw.
That's interesting. Every morning, because I noticed that I clench my jaw when I sleep, and especially right as I'm waking up. So that's the first thing I do, is just wiggle my jaw a little bit, and it kind of helps me wake up and gain a little bit more consciousness into my day. So I do yoga for my form of exercise, and every time before I start my practice, it's always release the shoulders and wiggle your jaw, because we always keep it so tense, and I don't know why. I guess it's just a natural. Yeah. But Cristin, this was amazing. I'm going to even take out the meditation itself and post that on all of our platforms, so we have just the meditation, and then this as a full mini-sode was incredible. So I really appreciate it, and feeling more rejuvenated for my day. So thank you.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Anna. It's always a pleasure.